Hello, everybody. Welcome to lecture number 5. That's right, we are 5 weeks in. Ah! So, uh, congratulations for making it this far, even if you haven't done all your work yet. I'm assuming that most of you are on the way to doing that. By way of an explanation there, so your resumes, I have been looking at your resumes, and those will be graded at the same time as your cover letters. So don't panic that you don't have a grade on that yet. If you look on Blackboard, the grade is combined with your cover letter grade, and that is because the two of them together have uh, have significance upon one another. So we'll talk about that more today. Um, if you had a 0 on your professional email, that should be remedied today unless you did not turn one in. So please, if you didn't turn that in, please do so immediately so I can get that grade to you and we can move on through the class. Um, so this week, if we look, we have lecture 5, right? Nothing is due at the end of the week except for your writing prompts. Yeah? So I want you to use this week to really focus in on those writing prompts to make sure that they're complete and fulsome, and we will talk about what's going to be in those in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the cover letter. So I have Joe Snuffy's cover letter up here. And it was written to go along with Joe Snuffy's resume. Um, and it shows you a very basic layout of what the cover letter should look like. You've got the address of the person you're addressing the letter to, your address, to whom it may concern. There are other greetings that might be better. Dear hiring manager, dear hiring committee, or if you know the name of the person who will be reviewing your resume eventually, you could address it to them. Dear Anthony Robbins, dear whoever. Um, Joe Snuffy then goes into a direct quote. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten, Anthony Robbins. So this is an interesting way to start a cover letter. It's not super appropriate, um, but it could work as a gimmick, right? Um, it's a way in for Joe. That's what he's used it for. He talks about the quote in that first paragraph: being innovative involves working smarter from a new paradigm. Many times people in everyday lives go through life on autopilot, reacting to their environment according to their internal programming, as Mr. Robbins likes to refer to it. That's not me, right? So he's setting himself apart from this paradigm that he has created of other people. Uh, Now he's used a lot of technobabble here, right? Innovative and smarter and paradigm and autopilot, and these are all sort of words that are pretty standard on a cover letter that really probably should be avoided, just because they don't always mean the same things for the same people. So if you're relying on those words, probably you should explain exactly what you mean, so that your letter remains clear. For a decade or longer, I've been concerned with why I do what I do and how I can change. How can I change to get what I want? Over the last 5 years, I've gone through dramatic changes in life, from religious internships in various parts of the U.S. to transferring to 3 different schools with 5 different majors. I know the feeling of being stuck, but what puts me in a great position today is that I don't stay in that spot. Okay, so he's trying to tell the story of how he's adapted, um, but in doing so, he's admitted to not being very good at being reliable, right? Uh, so over the last 5 years, going uh, 3 different schools and 5 different majors, that's not very reliable. It's the exact opposite of what I want working for my company, right? It sounds like he doesn't really know who he is yet. So this is not a very good strategy. It is a good strategy to try to say, uh, narrate the reasons for what's on your resume, right? But you should be specific. This isn't a list, right? This is a narrative of the resume. Yeah, so you want to explain, when I went from this position to this position, it was for this reason, and I think that it helped me in my personal journey because of this reason. But not only that it helped you in your personal journey, but that it gave you some skill that allows you to be a better candidate for the company. Because again, the company doesn't care as much about your personal growth as they do about how you can help the company. Yeah. So next, Joe Snuffy goes on. I've recently started developing my own personal growth project, speak of the devil, that I plan to use in workshops in the future. This job requires someone who is not going to allow the environment and other people to control their focus. From day one, you can count on me to find out what works and what doesn't for the company and demand more from myself than anyone else could expect. Okay, so this seems really generic, right? And especially if you're filling out a lot of job applications, right? You're applying to a lot of jobs. It can be tempting to use the same letter for 15 different applications. Don't fall into that trap, right? Write a different letter for every for every job that you're applying to. Because when you get language that sounds like this, right, that's very generic, that could apply to 15 different positions, it doesn't make the employer feel special. It makes them feel like another one of your applications, right? Which, is reasonable for you to do, right? But the company wants to feel like they're the only one that you are this excited about. Yeah. So do make sure that you're writing a different letter and actually a different resume probably for each company to which you're applying. This job requires someone who sets themselves apart to bring about new ways of thinking into the workplace. My non-conforming strategic thinking is a good match for your company, and the variety of ways in which there are to exceed company goals. All right, apart from some verb disagreement there in that last blurb, I'm not going to call it a paragraph because it's only 2 sentences. But apart from that, there's also some more technobabble, non-conforming, strategic, good match, right? It looks like Joe is trying to bring in some of the language from the job application or from the job ad, which is a good thing to try to do, but don't make it this clunky. Yeah. Also, don't tell them what their job requires. They know what their job requires, right? It's their job. Yeah. So don't mansplain to the to the employer. Just talk about the ways in which you fit the requirements of the job. Yeah. So again, with your cover letter, this is a narrative of the resume, right? So it's the story that goes with the list that you produced on the resume. It's not a list, right? It's not the resume. Yeah, so you don't in your body of your cover letter, you don't say I worked for this and I worked for this and I worked for this, right? You say because I worked for this, I earned this skill, which makes me a better candidate to do this. Yeah? It's a different style, right? You should be specific. If you developed a skill, you should say which skill that is, right? If you're good at Microsoft Word, say that you're good at Microsoft Word, and maybe say during my time at Microsoft, I became very proficient with Microsoft Word. Yeah. So make it specific, right? If you have a specific experience or a specific skill, I want to know in the cover letter where that came from and why that makes you a good fit for the job. Make it match the resume, right? It should look like it's a document that goes along with your resume specifically. Yeah. Make it logical, right? So it should draw a line from one experience to the next in your life, right? Some people like me have some interesting experiences along the way that if I were to list them all on my resume, I might have some questions to answer, right? So, um, for example, my first job was with Walmart, and then I joined the Army. And then when I came back from the Army, I was a line cook at Applebee's. And then I was a baker. Then I was a computer repairman. Then I was a real estate salesperson. Then I went back to college. Um, and after college, I was a paraeducator. And then I went back to college again. And I worked in food service. And I worked in a convenience store. And so if I was going to try and narrate all that for an employer, I would want to really work on figuring out how to narrate that in my cover letter. Yeah. I would have to make connections between what drove each transition and try to make it so that I appeared in the best light for that. You want to make it a response to the job ad also. So they put out the job ad because they wanted a specific kind of candidate, right? And your materials, both your resume and your cover letter, should respond to that job ad by quoting bits of it, yeah? By answering the questions that they pose in the job ad, yeah? So as you go along, you're answering those questions that they have. And when they review that as a hiring committee or as a hiring manager, they'll have the job ad sitting there next to them because they're usually required to evaluate based on the job ad. So once they have the job ad there in front of them, they say, okay, we listed this, this, and this. So who met those criteria? And if your materials respond to those criteria, it makes their job all that much easier. Okay? So that's the basic instruction I'm going to give you for the cover letter. It should be about 1 page again. So with the resume and cover letter, you should have 2 pages of materials. Each one could probably be up to 2, but really getting that down to 1 page is really advantageous for you. So this week, I'm going to have you for your reading responses. I want you to go to my YouTube channel. It's A Great Agent there. And I want you to look at my created playlists, and I have cover letters, right? So if you click on cover letters, it takes you to a collection of video cover letters that candidates have posted for various jobs online. So the reason I want you to look at these cover letters is because they do a very good job of saying in a video format exactly what you're going to be writing in your cover letter. Yeah. So it gives you a good idea in another format of what should be in your cover letter. Yeah. You'll note I don't like to give you direct examples of exactly what you should be doing, and that is because I believe in you finding your way to do it. Yeah. I don't want to impose my way of doing something on you. So that's why I don't give you a direct example. This is an A paper, right? Because then you'll copy the A paper and you won't do any work yourself. Yeah? So we're not here to copy, we're here to find a new path. So I want you to watch the videos in that playlist and respond to each one, right? Respond to what you think of the candidate, yeah. And then I want you to think about if you were starting a new tech firm, right? Some firm that would be focused on innovation. I want you to think about which 4 of those candidates in those cover letter videos that you would hire, right? So those are your 2 writing prompts this week. I want you to respond to each video. It can be 3 or 4 sentences, just a response to each video. And then 2, I want you to discuss why you would hire 4 or 5 of those candidates for you starting up a new tech firm, right? Your tech firm can be doing anything that you want. You can describe that. You don't have to. You can just say, I would hire this one and this one and this one because I think they would work well together, or this one I think would be a great leader, whereas this one might be a better bookkeeper, and this one could be a hiring manager, and blah, 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 right? So, those are your 2 writing prompts. We've covered the cover letter. The grading for both the resume and cover letter will be done the weekend after you submit your cover letter. And that should be all good. All right. So have a good week, and I'll see you next week.